is what we do in youth these days is when we meet, we get together, we'll play downstairs, we'll do some games, stuff like that. And I always try to take a time to ask them a God sighting. What have they seen God do in their lives this past week or this past month? And so what I want to do now is I want to take the opportunity for us to share in the congregation. What's God been doing in your life? How's God been working in your life? And the idea behind this is that so we can see that God is working within our congregation. On the first page, I actually underlined it today. First page, after the Apostle Paul assures us, blah, blah, blah. And it gets down here and it says, be at peace and tell everyone how much God has done for you. So today, if you could think of something that God has done in your life, share it with us. Just raise your hand or stand up and say, hey, God's done this for me this week or this past month. Actually, I'll start off with one. There's a young man that's been helping us around our house. He's homeless, and we've had the opportunity to help him out. And I think of it as a blessing, that I can be a blessing to this young man. He's going through a lot of trouble with his family, and he's you wouldn't believe it, but he's homeless. So we're able to actually give him some work, and so they can take care of himself, feed himself, and he just crashes wherever he can. And to me, it's a God working through us to help this young man out. So that's just one that I have. Anybody have a sighting that they might want to share?
Boy, what a bunch of old Lutherans, huh?
Actually, we saw this in the Lutheran magazine where there's a church out in the Midwest that they do it right before the prayers of the people. So they talk about what God has done, and then they move right into the prayers. So there's a kind of expectation of, or Thanksgiving attitude as it goes into the prayers. Here you go.
Yeah, I have to give thanks to God because God gave me help in order to take care of my wife.
That's right. Amen. Thank you. Yes.
I would just say that I give thanks to God, and I've seen God working not just this past week, but it's reminded me this past week because this was the last week of school, but throughout the year, taking care of the kids and helping them learn throughout the school year, and I've seen their growth. Every year I see their growth, but especially this year,
Yes.
In school and within their studies and learning. So I'm very thankful for that.
Amen. Yeah, we try to do this also at home, around our tables. We'll try to remember and say, hey, what's God done? And a lot of times Brian will say, well, God got me to school and back home safely. Which is our little things that we can thank God for. Yes, Paul.
It was Father's Day, and I think back and remember my dad in a special way today, and I see him in myself in so many ways as I deal with my kids and I deal with my life, and the way that he became part of me, and that helps me to minister and to be the face of Jesus to others.
Amen. Yes. Karen.
Well, yesterday, Pastor Paul, Barbara, and I and Donna Batetta were at the Diaconia graduation. And if that isn't testimony to the power of God working in community, all of these talented people coming together to grow in faith after a 2-year process, and the instructors that worked with them, the congregations that supported them, their families that supported them throughout this. It's wonderful, and we have probably several new deacons in the pipe for our Senate, so God working in community.
Right.
We are part of that.
Yeah. And what's great is that when we can see God working, sometimes I guess it's a mindset. Sometimes it's like when I do something, do I want to give myself the credit for it, or do I want to say, hey, thank you, God, for the ability. God gave me that talent. God gave me that ability to do that. So God needs the credit just as well. And sometimes it's hard to do that. Sometimes it's easy to look at what I've done and give myself credit. So, what are the going on, girls? You don't know? Okay. Anybody else want to just go ahead and share while we figure this out?
guitar case open, and the sign read, "I don't need the money, I just want to share my gifts with you." And it was him playing music for people, sharing his gifts. What? It had his sign propped up saying, "I don't need it, just sharing it with you."
I'll share a little bit of what I heard yesterday in the sermon Pastor Chris Mitnowski preached. And on Saturday, he attended the funeral for a 40-year-old pastor who died of a genetic liver problem. And the pastor was in the medical center, and Pastor Chris was visiting him on a regular basis and met his family. And they were all, of course, praying for a miracle, so that the young, 40 years old, so that he would recover and live a good, healthy life. He had a wife and kids. And as I told you, Pastor Chris attended the funeral, and at the funeral, the young man's mother came up to Pastor Chris and said to him, "Well, we were praying for a miracle, and we got one, just not the one that we were praying for." And that showed a real depth of faith, for them to be able to see beyond their own loss, the miracle that happened for their son. So that was definitely a God sighting. That was good news for me to be able to hear that.